Just 1 year after the release of Spider-Man Miles Morales and a few months after Rift Apart came out, Insomniac made a small CG teaser for Spider-Man 2 that really didn't give any idea of how the game will play, but they did show a small taste of Venom, and we'd never see the game again. It doesn't exist? Sorry. Well, it didn't exist for about 2 years until they went balls to the wall showing almost 11 minutes of gameplay that definitely sold me on the game, as if I wasn't from the number 2 being added to the title. I tried to stay away from most of the marketing since I was getting the game anyway and I wanted to go in as blind as possible. Hey, they don't call me a genius. Nonetheless, it was a good idea because holy fuck. Spider-Man 2 is so damn good the whole way through. No more wasting time, I need to taste that 19 inches of Venom now! The opening sequence is one of the sickest ways to start your sequel, and it gives just a taste of what they've been brewing up. Like, they didn't need to make the damn tutorial look this insane! It also hits on all the beats it needs to, showing the chemistry Pete and Miles have, getting you familiarized with the controls, an insane set piece to play in, and an epic boss fight, as well as setting up the villains. It's up there for one of my favorite openings to a game ever, and luckily the cool shit never seems to run out. None of the trailers really do justice to how good Spider-Man 2 feels to play, and they jam-pack New York with a lot of new activities and refreshing side content. I can't talk much about the main story because, you know, spoilers, and the game is too new that people are probably still playing it, so all I'll say is that this is hands down my favorite Spider-Man story. The epic moments hit so good, and the emotional scenes make you feel the sequel to Depression. And the story does pretty great at making both Spiders feel a part of the story, which was honestly my biggest worry. But it never felt like one was missing out on story stuff. They one-upped their game from the lackluster story missions of the 2018 game. No longer do they feel like tedious tasks that Spider-Man has to do. Now they're actual side stories, letting you get a better understanding of who you're helping and why. For instance, this lady lost their grandpa, and while trying to find clues to locate him, she'll talk about herself and her gramps. It's extremely wholesome, and a nice break from the action-packed story. It felt like every other cutscene was just some chaotic or epic thing going down, and obviously those moments are super memorable and exciting. But sometimes I like to wind down a bit, and some of these side stories are a great way to do that. I wish I could mention more that weren't just basic things because they're so cool, but I don't want to spoil it and ruin it for somebody, because some genuinely could have been main story material. But what I can talk about is how incredibly fun it is to swing around New York. It's never looked more realistic, mostly because you can't in real life, but goddamn does this game make it seem like you are. The streets are filled with pedestrians and vehicles, buildings give off accurate reflections. It's fucking absurd how good it looks. And now with the power of PS5, you're able to zoom across the city at Mach speed along with the help of a few new tricks the Spider-Man picked up, like the web wings, a fun little loop-de-loop, and just fucking slingshotting yourself 30,000 miles per hour. On top of that, there's plenty of activities to do around the city, like the crimes that you're definitely familiar with from the first game. However, you don't need to do them if you don't want to, since this time around they're only for tech parts which are used to get suits that now have some extra color options along with upgrades. And you can run into the other Spider-Man fighting a crime and join in the fun. The real juicy stuff comes from the new stuff they added, which shines some light on other villains that don't appear in the game's main story, and that alone makes it worth your time. But also, some are just fun to do, like the Mysterium combat challenges or the Hunter blinds, basically anything that let me do more of the combat. Speaking of which, it's quite the step up from the 2018 and 2020 game's combat. Miles Morales went for more of a focus on melee than gadgets, which I wasn't a fan of in the first game. However, they found a way to make both work in tandem together. The gadgets are a big improvement from the other games, mainly because they removed the gadget wheel, which is a sign that God is real. They combine pretty well with the abilities as well, being able to web up multiple enemies or group them up and then devastating them with one of your abilities never cease to feel satisfying. Like, you don't understand, Miles isn't just Spider-Man anymore, he feels like a whole ass anime protagonist with the shit he's pulling off. Peter, I hate to say it, but you might be washed up. Hey, whoa, I didn't mean it, let's relax. The symbiote is so fucking cool, man. Hot take, but if killing people looks this badass, then I think he should kill more people. Honestly, it might be too good because I was a little sad when they took it away and I wasn't able to smash people into the ground anymore. I do like that they made this game quite a bit more difficult than its predecessors. Enemies can now take quite the beating and can give one back. Luckily, the Spider Pals have a few tricks up their sleeves, and by a few I mean 3 whole skill trees worth of tricks. I unfortunately didn't get any of the new moves until way late in the game since I was hyper focused on finishing their separate trees first. I would have loved to use the double takedowns, but alas, it was the last skill I got. Where were you when I needed you most, my beloved? Spider-Man 2 feels like the game everyone's gonna go back and look at to see what the current gen consoles are capable of. And rightfully so, since it's one of those games where it's unbelievable that you're controlling it because it looks so fucking insane and plays even better. It's a shame that some stuff from its predecessors was left out at launch, like being able to change the time of day after completing it. I've become a whore for photo modes as of late, so it was a bit upsetting not being able to change the weather or time to my liking. There is also no New Game Plus as of the time of writing. I was hoping it would because I wanted to replay it with all my abilities and whatnot. That would be so fun. But at least they plan on adding it later, so I'll definitely revisit it when that update comes out. Everything about this game is fantastic and easily takes the top spot on my podium as the best superhero game. Insomniac knocked it out of the park with this one, and it definitely has me excited for not only their Wolverine game, but also anything they do that's not superhero related. Yes, I will play Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart in the near future. So, I hope you all look forward to that, and obviously I'm playing the Wolverine game as well. See you all in whatever video comes next. Bye bye!